The Sonic franchise has no idea what it wants to do with its story. This much is very clear. A lot of it has to do with just being poorly written, but some of it also has to do with this idea that there are too many characters. This leaves some characters becoming hollow, vapid caricatures of their original selves. I think Sonic Team has really misunderstood what made these characters so great and memorable to begin with. So for today, I want to focus on Knuckles the Echidna. In 1994, Knuckles punches his way into the Sonic fanbase. From his mysterious eyes in the game cover to his chuckle in the beginning, we're made to believe that this guy is a serious threat. He could rival Sonic in speed, and the spikes on his gloves made him look tougher than Sonic. His design contrasted Sonic in some meaningful ways. Sonic is blue, which conveys peace and trust, while Knuckles is red, the color of energy, passion, and urgency. Sonic's belly is a pure, clear, and bright beige color that could represent the sun. Knuckles is the white crescent shape akin to a moon. This tells us that they both have a connection to nature and want to preserve it, but they fall on opposing sides of the process in preserving it. Sonic's design is a brilliant mix of contemporary coolness and timeless charm. He has a mohawk in today's day and age and manages to not look cringy. Knuckles also carries this contemporary coolness and timeless design. He has dreads and is clearly inspired by Jamaica, but doesn't draw too much attention to it as to not make it stand out too much. His eyes are similar to Sonic's, but far less cutesy. He doesn't look friendly. He was a perfect design to contrast Sonic to be his perfect bitter rival. I'll talk more about how his gameplay in Sonic 3 and Knuckles contrasts Sonic's in a future video, but the short and sweet of it is that he played like Sonic, only with all new sets of challenges and new abilities that complemented the game in a way that no other character has. This helps make his campaign not only different, but slightly harder than Sonic's. Moving on to his narrative importance. The first time we see him, he literally beats the Jesus out of Sonic and laughs about it. The first time we see this man is with a fist to your chin. The emeralds you worked so hard for in Sonic 2 are now gone and stolen. To this day, Knuckles is the only character to beat a super transformation without being super himself as far as I know. It tells us he's physically strong and has an even stronger connection to the emerald's powers. After this, we only see glimpses of him causing trouble on your way to the Death Egg. It isn't until the Hidden Palace zone where we see this mural foreshadowing the final boss and Eggman stealing the Master Emerald where Knuckles changes. After this point, Knuckles realizes he was tricked by Dr. Robot. I'm sorry, he'll always be Eggman to me. After this, Knuckles realizes he was tricked by Eggman and joins Sonic. Knuckles is naive, but he isn't a bad guy. He was tricked by an evil scientist with an IQ over 300 after all. For me, at least at the time, it was believable. While I was born in 2000 and never actually lived through this, I did have my old computer at the time, and it was basically the only game that thing was powerful enough to emulate. I also had the old Sonic Sat AM and Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon DVDs with me that I would watch non-stop in the car. This is all to say that I have a lot of exposure to lighthearted Sonic and serious Sonic. So before Eggman's reputation went to the ground, I was able to take this guy seriously. I think in this game in particular, I gave him the more ruthless interpretation. He won't stop at anything to harness the power of the Emerald to take over the world. In the Sonic and Knuckles portion of the game, there are tons of two-part boss battles, and a lot of the robots Eggman created end up hurting themselves. His robots were literally too powerful to be beaten by even Super Sonic, that the only way he could lose was by hurting himself. This is also not to mention that there's like 3 boss battles in the end, including one suspended in the vacuum of space. He even created a robot that could harness the power of the Master Emerald and temporarily go into a super state. The only reason Knuckles was able to beat him was because it was an imperfect super state. Otherwise, it was invincible. Dr. Eggman was a madman who would refuse to give up the goods no matter what. So him being able to trick Knuckles into fighting Sonic felt perfectly reasonable with his character at the time. Knuckles is blissfully ignorant to the outside world. He's been protecting the sacred rock his whole life. As we come to find out later, he doesn't even know why for that matter. It really goes to emphasize how straightforward and dutiful he is. His campaign in Sonic 3 and Knuckles also ends in Sky Sanctuary, a sacred land not even Robotnik has laid many traps in. It's one act and it's comparably easy. For Knuckles, it's just a boss battle. Knuckles doesn't go into space because he doesn't care. It's not his mission. He just wants to protect the family jewels, get in, and get out. He's like a soldier who trusts his general no matter what he says or why they ask him to do it. He doesn't know why he's there, but he's told to protect it, and so he will. Things are peaceful and life is good, so he thinks it's probably for the better that he doesn't know. Otherwise, he might question why he's there. And if he doesn't agree with why he's there, it might weaken his resolve. Being around this hunk of a gem all this time has made him able to turn Super and Hyper Knuckles. It also made him a living Master Emerald radar. It's extremely unfortunate now that Knuckles and Tails, mainly Knuckles, can't go Super anymore for literally no reason. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I understand, but I think it's kinda lame. This is actually confirmed, by the way. Only male Hedgehogs can go Super now. Tails, Knuckles, Mighty, Ray, all of their super forms in Sonic Mania aren't actually canon. It's a nice gameplay nod, but in Sonic 3 and Knuckles it's canon that Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles all go Super. Anyways, in Sonic Adventure, he gets tricked by Eggman again, which is kind of annoying, but whatever, I guess they need an excuse to bring him back to the story, I suppose. Pretty stupid. I mean, they could have chose any other reason for him to be back in the story, but they reused the old one. Anyway, Knuckles' story again is about protecting the Master Emerald. He monologues about how he doesn't even know why he's there, or what the thing is even all about, but he doesn't really care. Things have been going alright so far, so there's no reason to stop it. Again, this really goes to show how militaristically dutiful he is. He's a very introverted, obedient character. It's stuff like this monologue that makes me relate to him on some level. His raps give us further insight into his inner psyche. Later on, he's forced to ally with Sonic and realizes Eggman tricked him again. He has this one line about how this alliance has a purpose.
Don't approve of him, but gotta trust him. This alliance has a purpose. This partnership is only temporary. Yeah.
Despite being coded around lines like
Hard as nails.
and
Just believe in myself, won't rely on others.
he clearly prefers to work alone, and this alliance is not ideal. By the end of his story, Knuckles decides he's better off not knowing his people's history, which is such a fitting end to his campaign. He just wants to maintain the way things are and doesn't care why. Despite how rough and tough he is on the exterior, he's still scared of his past. A rather genuine note to end on. In Sonic Adventure 2, him and Sonic are comrades, which I think is a fair development. He also develops feelings for Rouge. Knuckles begins to mellow down. In the Aquatic Mine, he doesn't yell about being rough and tough. He says,
"Sometimes I wanna just chill and live, but I'm the protector of the emeralds and gems."
Knuckles is changing. He prefers to chill and live laid back, not collecting the emeralds all the time. All the tracks actually have this same tone. When he was younger in Sonic Adventure, he used to try and prove himself all the time, exclaiming he needs nobody. He gets it on by himself. But in Sonic Adventure 2, he mellows out. Coincidentally after meeting Rouge. Love can really change a man. In Sonic Adventure, his theme was a really hard, aggressive rap, but in his stages in Sonic Adventure 2, it's really chill rap. And I think this is a clever way of showing Knuckles' development. He joins Sonic and willingly works with him instead of fighting. At first he realizes he's not alone and grows a liking towards other characters. There's more to his world, there's more to his life than just protecting the Master Emerald. This all starts with his sexual attraction towards Rouge. Then he realizes that he doesn't want to spend all of his time collecting the Master Emerald and finally acknowledges the friends he's made. In Meteor Herd, he says,
Fly to space and live from our homes. At least we're friends, and I'm not all alone.
that is shonen as hell, and I love it. Knuckles' character arc feels like a natural evolution. From being the naive lone guardian of the Master Emerald, to now having friends and going on adventures. In Sonic Heroes, he actually enjoys the company of friends and even bickers around with them a bit. Unfortunately, ever since 2003 in Sonic Heroes, he hasn't done anything noteworthy aside from being a meme, and while his Sonic Boom design is atrocious and his portrayal in the game equally so, in the cartoon he's pretty funny.
Can the young woman break the glass ceiling and prove once and for all that a female can be just as good an athlete as a male?
You know, Amy, anytime someone calls attention to the breaking of gender rules, it ultimately undermines the concept of gender equality by implying that this is an exception and not the status quo. What? Just because I'm a meathead doesn't mean I'm not a feminist.
Even in the Sonic Mania Adventures cartoon, I know it's just a short for laughs, but Knuckles is still a vapid shell of his former glory days. The problem with Knuckles is that I feel like he has such a specific purpose in the narratives of Sonic games, but he's so popular that they try and shoehorn him every opportunity they get. I'm not even sure how I would fix him. I think Sonic Unleashed had the right approach and just removed him from the story altogether. I think Sonic Team could also experiment with switching characters in and out of games, like maybe having Sonic and Blaze focused game like Sonic Rush, and then Sonic Shadow and Silver focused game like Sonic 06, etc. This might not be the best way to progress things, I'm really just spitballing, but yeah, I definitely think that there are way too many characters to focus on and make them all feel meaningful, so splitting them up for different games might be the way to go. Knuckles' character arc feels like it's pretty much finished after Adventure 2 to me, so they have to either regress his characters and then develop it again, change his character, or make him static. I think that making him static is the way to go. We can make him a stoic, responsible, but still kind of naive character. Sort of like a slightly more goofy version of Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z or Zoro from One Piece. I'm not sure how the Master Emerald could fit into all of this, but I'll explain some alternatives later. The option Sega chose to do out of the three I mentioned before, which was regress his character and develop it again, stagnate his character, or change his character, was they chose to regress his character. Only instead of developing it again, they chose to just stop at step 3 and regress his character. Knuckles' personality is literally dumb muscle man. This has been his personality ever since Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic 06. Sonic Boom is just taking it to its logical extreme. Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic 06 were slowly turning him into a comic relief, and by the time Lost World came around, his knuckle brain personality was his defining characteristic. Every game and every television series, he's shown to be a complete idiot, and I feel like that's an egregious misunderstanding of his character. The Master Emerald is in every Sonic game, and I don't think that it really should be. It really limits the storytelling potential. His character is intimately linked to the Master Emerald, but he doesn't always have to be protecting it. I think if we don't want the Master Emerald tied into the games, then we should make him like how he is in Sonic Heroes. A sort of older brother to Team Sonic. He's a little bit naive, but he's not stupid. Like, please just stop making him stupid. That's all I ask. Again, I still don't think he has a purpose in half the games he's in. It's just that Sonic 3 and the adventure games were such major successes. But at least try and make him contribute to the story in some meaningful ways. I actually really like what they did in Sonic Rider Zero Gravity. The Master Emerald wasn't in that game, of course, but he was still able to read ancient texts, which made him feel like a mythical character, intimately tied to the legends and lore of the series. He hasn't felt like that since Sonic 3 and Knuckles. That's another approach they can take with the character that I think would be quite fitting. Look, I don't want people to think that I think there should be no humor with Knuckles. I don't mind it in principle. I get it, he's oblivious and obstinate. I just don't want that to be his defining characteristic. But I also don't think he should be a jaded old man. There needs to be a mix. Sonic Forces, ironically, was actually a step in the right direction, making him a leader of the Resistance. And that's where Knuckles lies right now. I'm cautiously optimistic for his future. And that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, let me know if you do, and I'll catch you all next time. Alright, peace.